get my computer set up here. 1 second. Give me 1 second and we'll get going. All right, STL TV, we're ready.
You can proceed.
The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans.
I'm here.
Alderman Page.
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia.
Present.
Alderman Coder. Alderwoman Rice.
Present.
Alderman Gunther.
Here.
Alderman Vollmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderman Stevens.
Here.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Present.
Alderwoman Howard.
Here.
Alderwoman Green.
Present.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderwoman Peel. Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone.
Here.
Thank you. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Here.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Here.
President Reed.
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderman Bosley. Alderman Coder.
Here.
Thank you. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Peel.
Here.
Alderman Muhammad. And Alderman Cone. 24 present.
The quorum being present, before we begin today, I'm going to ask everyone if you will join me in a moment of silence for Police Detective Antonio Valentine. And Officer Valentine was described as a person with a big heart, dry wit, and a huge competitive spirit, and with a big eager to learn wherever he went, whether he was at in military class in Texas or at Fairgrounds Park playing flag football in the football league. He had 4 children, and he's going to be dearly missed by his friends and family and everyone that came in contact with him. So please join me in a moment of silence for him. And I also understand that he is the cousin of Rodney Boyd. Some of you all know Rodney, but he was also Rodney's cousin. Giving all honor to God, Almighty God, source of all authority, we humbly ask guidance in our deliberations and wisdom in our conclusions. Amen. Any introduction of honored guests? Alderman from the 23rd.
As always, my good friend Greg Meyer. He's listening in and he's always my special guest.
Welcome, Greg. Any further introductions? Any further introductions? Alderman from 26.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I would like to have my honored guests, all of the youth that participated in the march. It was titled "A Movement, Not a Moment." This past week, it started at Wold Community Center and it ended at Cardinal Ritter High School under the direction of President Armstead, her students, her staff, and then other schools participated. I have to, of course, give a special shout out to Vashon and CA, the St. Louis Public Schools that I know were there, but there were other schools there as well. It was an amazing experience. There was a lot of footage caught, but what I liked most about it was that they said this is only the beginning when we say movement, not moment. So these are going to be steps. They're putting together a like a youth council. Alderwoman Davis, I told them to make sure with starting at Cardinal Ritter. I know that's one of your hearts over there in the 19th. So I was like, make sure you get us involved however we can do to support our youth. And things that they said, we were listening. People were listening. So shout out to all the amazing youth, President Armstrong, Cardinal Ritter staff, our very own Rex and Recreation staff that helped set it up at WOA in the beginning, and everybody that participated, as well as I have to shout out our police department. They were there and they marched. They didn't just ride in cars. They were actually marching with us. They did have cars because they were blocking off the street, but they actually marched, listened, and participated. And of course, our prayers continue to be with the Moore family, which is kind of how the march started, was for his daughter, his beloved daughter and granddaughter, Isis. So thank you to all the youth, and we are listening. We are here, and we are behind you. Like Clark, like Mr. James Clark and Urban League stated there, we are behind them. So those are our special guests for today.
All right, let's give it a big round of applause. Alderman from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I would like to have as my honored guests the entire staff of the Board of Aldermen and a staff of the President's office. I know we have been a hot mess the last few months, and I'm going to take my blame, but they have been on it. They have provided services to us beyond anything that we could ask for. When they're working on Saturdays and Sunday mornings and Sunday nights, getting everything together for us properly, I just want to say thank you, and please.
Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you for that, Alderwoman Davis. Our staffs have been just, running crazy, all except for Sharita. She's had it easy. Sharita, you, Terry, and all the staff, you all have done such a phenomenal job. Thank you for enduring. Any further introductions? All right. Alderman from 10th, you recognized to close.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We're gathered here on December 3rd, 2021. On this day in 1931, Alka-Seltzer made its debut for the first time. In 1968, Major League Baseball decided to lower the mound for the 1969 season due to Bob Gibson's wonderful year. But most importantly, this is have a party in your bathtub day. So I suggest we all go over to the Alderman from the 23rd's house. I hear he's moving the tub out to the backyard today and fill it up with Jell-O and jump into it. All right, thank you.
All right. Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes dated Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021.
Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021.
Moved by Alderman from 10th,
Second.
seconded by Alderman from the 22nd, and Alderman from 4th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the aldermen's mailboxes. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individual for appointment to the Cherokee Street Community Improvement District. The appointment of Ms. Ashley Woods Malone, serving as a property owner in the district, whose term will expire March 16, 2023. I respectfully request your approval of the appointment. Sincerely, Tashara O. Jones, Mayor.
Alderwoman from the 20th. You recognize on the mayor's appointment to Cherokee Street.
I move for adoption of, I'm sorry, I missed the resolution
Mayor's
number.
Appointment to Cherokee Street.
Mayor, sorry, Mr. President, I was distracted here this morning. So
Oh, that's all.
I move for, we are approving the mayor's appointments to the Cherokee Street Business District, and I make the motion for adoption.
All right, it's been moved by the Alderwoman,
Second.
moved by the Alderwoman from the 20th, seconded by the Alderman from the 25th. Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the mayor's appointment to the Cherokee Street Business District. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
That is the extent of report of city officials.
We dispense with line item 7. Would anyone like to take any bills from any of our informal counters? All of them from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I please move Board Bill 100 from the third reading informal calendar to the third reading consent calendar?
Yes, Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Place Board Bill 100 from the third reading informal to the third reading consent.
So noted.
Would anyone like to take any further bills off of any of our informal calendars? Would anyone like to take any further bills off of any of our informal calendars? We will dispense with line items 8 through 10. First reading the board bill.
Board Bill 142, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface, surface, and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in the 15-foot wide north-south alley in City Block 1881 as bounded by Aldine, Grand, Cass, and Spring in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with Charter Authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 143, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated November 16, 2021 for the 4201 Rear Geraldine Avenue area. Board Bill 144, sponsored by Alderman Coder, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated November 16, 2021 for the 744 through 750 South 4th Street area. Board Bill 145, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis and Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance providing for the directing the submission to the qualified electors of the city of St. Louis at a special bond election to be held in said city on the 5th day of April 2022 of a proposal for the incurring of indebtedness and the issuance of general obligation bonds of said city and evidence thereof in the aggregated amount of not to exceed $50 million upon the assent to the said proposal of 2/3 of the qualified electors of said city voting thereon and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 146, number not used this session. Board Bill 147, sponsored by Alderwoman Martin, an ordinance amending ordinance number 68963, which ordinance relates to original lease agreement dated October 19th, 2011, to be extended in the second mutual option between the city of St. Louis, Missouri and ACBL Transportation Services LLC, Transportation Services LLC, containing the severability clause. That is the extent of first reading of board bills.
Reference the committee.
To the Streets Committee, Board Bill 142, to Ways and Means, Board Bill 145, to Neighborhood Development, Board Bill 143, to HUD's, Board Bill 144, and to Transportation and Commerce, Board Bill 147. That is the extent of reference to committee.
Second reading.
The following board bills were reported out of HUD with the due pass recommendation. Board Bill 134, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, and ordinance repealing ordinance number 66969, ordinance number 66415, ordinance number 64603, and ordinance number 65118, which latter ordinance amended and restated ordinance number 64603, dissolving the special allocations fund for Delmore East Loop, Barton Street Lofts, and Shoto Compton redevelopment areas, and terminating the designation of a portion of the city of St. Louis, Missouri as redevelopment areas and authorizing certain actions related thereto. Board Bill 137, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, an ordinance determining that the tax increment financing plans listed in Exhibit A are making satisfactory progress, except as noted under the proposed time schedule for completion of projects therein. The following board bills were reported out of public safety with the due pass recommendation. Board Bill 121, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard and the following alderpersons: Davis, Howard, Spencer, P. Boyd, Bosley, Muhammad, Oldenburg, Narayan, Page, and Vaquero. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the fire chief on behalf of the city of St. Louis to enter into and execute an assistance to firefighters grant with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, appropriating said funds and the required city match for said funds, and authorizing the fire chief to expend the appropriated funds by entering into contracts or otherwise for grant purposes, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 131, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the Director of Department of Public Safety or his designee on behalf of the city of St. Louis to enter into and execute a U.S. Department of Justice 2021 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant to accept funds awarded, appropriating said funds, and authorizing the Director of Public Safety to expend the appropriated funds for allowed purposes, and containing an emergency clause. The following board bill was reported out of Health and Human Services with the due pass recommendation. Board Bill 98, sponsored by Alderwoman Negracia. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the Department of Health to accept the 2021 Medical Reserve Corps COVID-19 Operational Readiness Award of $10,000 from the National Association of County and City Health Officials for the grant purposes of providing fund assistance for approved activities that build the operation readiness capabilities to meet the COVID-19 emergency preparedness and response, authorizing the expenditure of non-show oral grant funds for grant purposes and to fulfill the obligations of said grant, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 131, sponsored by Alderwoman Negracia, Alderwoman Green, Alderwoman Rice, Alderman Todd, and Alderman Gunther. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the Department of Health to accept the Closing the Gap with Social Determinants of Health Food and Nutrition Grant of $89,522 from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, containing an emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of the Streets Committee with the due pass recommendation. Board Bill 127, sponsored by Alderwoman Peel, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface, and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in Pacific Avenue from Papin Street to Shoto Avenue in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with Charter Authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter, and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 141, sponsored by Alderwoman Middlebrook, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Streets to permanently close, barricade, or otherwise impede the flow of traffic on the 170 block of East Grand Avenue by blocking said traffic flow at the intersection of East Grand Avenue and North 2nd Street. The following board bills were reported out of Ways and Means with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill 123, sponsored by Alderman Coder, Alderwoman Davis, Alderwoman Negracia, and Alderman Page. An ordinance approving the petition of an owner of certain real property to amend the petition for creation, extension, renewal, and establishment of downtown St. Louis Community Improvement District, containing a severability clause and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 124, sponsored by Alderman Coder, an ordinance extending the term of existence of the downtown St. Louis Community Improvement District, containing a severability clause and an emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of Transportation and Commerce with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill 128, sponsored by Alderman Gunther and Alderwoman Moore, an ordinance amending ordinance number 67300, which ordinance relates to an original lease agreement dated January the 17th, 2007, to be extended in the second mutual option between the city of St. Louis, Missouri, and SI Warehousing Company a Missouri corporation containing a severability clause. Board Bill 129, sponsored by Alderman Cone. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the Director of Airports and the Comptroller of the City of St. Louis, owner and operator of St. Louis Lambert International Airport, to enter into and execute on behalf of the city a memorandum of agreement to reimburse between the city and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection containing a severability clause and an emergency clause. That is the extent of second readings, reporting standing committees.
We will dispense with line item 14 and line item 15. And I believe the sponsor of Board Bill 101 as amended would like to put that on the informal calendar till next week.
So noted.
I think I was waiting for.
Oh.
I thought I was becoming unnecessary. Thank you. That was a foregone conclusion. No, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Am I being recognized? I request we put Board Bill 101 AA on the informal calendar until next Wednesday.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, at the request of the sponsor, please place Board Bill 101 as amended on the perfection informal calendar till next Wednesday.
So noted.
Board bills for perfection,
We have none.
third reading consent.
Board Bill 101. I'm sorry, Board Bill 100.
Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion for the third reading consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the third reading consent calendar.
Moved by the Alderman from the 10th, and somebody spoke. Seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th. Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we adopt our third reading in consent calendar. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans.
Hold on. Aye.
Alderman Page.
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia.
Aye.
Alderman Coder. Alderwoman Rice.
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderman Balmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderman Stevens.
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Green.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Right.
Alderwoman Peel.
Aye.
Alderman Todd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad.
Aye.
Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Alderman Orion.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Martin.
I'm an aye.
Thank you. Alderwoman Martin. Alderman Orion.
Aye.
28 aye votes.
By your vote, you stay in the motion. All of them from 10th and 3rd read and finally passed the aforementioned bills. 3rd reading, report of engrossments.
Board Bill 19 Committee Sub, sponsored by Alderman Vaquero, an ordinance establishing a detention facility oversight board comprised of 9 city residents to serve as an advisory body to the mayor, Commissioner of Corrections, and the Director of Public Safety with regard to detention facility operations, conditions of detention, the Division of Correction policies that is authorized to receive and investigate complaints of alleged correction, misconduct, and detention incidents, and make findings and recommendations based thereon, including recommendations regarding Division of Corrections policy, procedures, employee professional development, and employee disciplinary action.
Alderman from the 23rd, you recognize on 3rd reading, final passage of Board Bill 19 Committee Substitute.
Board Bill 19 Committee Substitute.
You'd like to make the motion?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt and final pass Board Bill
19 Committee Substitute.
Yes.
It's been moved by the Alderman from
Second.
the 3rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd. Alderman from the 23rd, please proceed.
So it simply establishes a 9-member community member to an oversight committee for both the downtown jail and the other jail they want to call the workhouse, the minimum or medium jail. And I know that there was concerns, everybody talks about, well, there is a second bill, which is an umbrella bill that Alderwoman Shameen Clark-Hubbard is handling, which covers a lot of what we talked about. A civilian group does not have the authority to discipline, but they do have the authority then to go in and listen, to some of the problems going on, and basically report back. So there's really not much to it. It's just a civilian oversight, and hopefully I sense some of the issues that are going on over in the jail, and it's just important that we get this moving. And I did talk with the mayor's office last night, and they have no intention on vetoing this. My understanding, in fact, they helped write the thing to start with. We just did it in 2 parts, but I really don't have a lot to say on it. I'll answer any questions if anybody has any, but I'd like to see this get through, and then as soon as the Alderwoman introduces her bill, Alderwoman Clark-Hubbard introduces her bill, we will have a committee hearing on it right away, and we'll move that one along also.
All right. Alderwoman from 26.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the committee. Thank you, Alderman Vaquero. So yes, I'm excited about this morning. Of course, yes, I voted for it last week. I had every intention on voting for it this week as well. But I want to thank Alderman Vaquero for speaking with me several times this week, for agreeing. I'll use his words that encouraged me. He was speaking my language. He said he's going to work in good faith. So these are good faith efforts to get both of these bills moving for the greater good, for the betterment of our community. So thank you for, again, Alderman Vaquero, for not only agreeing to hear, but to vote on, call for a vote, and for us to get the umbrella bill, affection on the umbrella bill, not my bill, our bill, because again, this is for the city, and your bill as well moving. So with that, I guess I just want to say another little piece about, this is an opportunity I see. This is an opportunity for us to really work together and really send a message about the collectiveness that we can show as a board, as an administration, and for our constituents. Because again, this is an oversight bill, civilians, so it's about empowering our civilians, empowering our residents. And so I think everybody needs to be to the table, which is something that, sometimes people don't always agree with, but that's how I feel, that that's where the conversation happens, that people on different sides come to the table, talk, meet, and change happens in the middle. So I feel like this bill, if nothing else, could be an example of how this city, with everything the city is going through, war reduction and everything else, that we can show our constituents that we are going to work together, work collectively, and get this done for them, not for us, but for them. So again, thank you, Alderman Vaccaro. I look forward to hopefully introducing this bill, our umbrella bill. I hope we can find another name for it, but I guess it's just the umbrella bill. Maybe we could call it something else, but introducing the umbrella bill, sitting down, talking with stakeholders, and people that this will not only directly impact, but directly empower, and then move forward on our vote in the committee and everything else. So thank you so much, Alderman Vaccaro, again.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the first.
Mr. President, members of the board, if the Alderman from the 23rd would yield, and perhaps I might have a question for the 26th also, but right now the 23rd.
Okay, Alderman from the 23rd, will you yield for questioning to the Alderwoman from the first?
Yes, I will.
Alderwoman from the first, please proceed.
Thank you. Could you, Alderman, thank you for taking my questions. Could you tell me what the differences in the proposed bill that the Alderwoman from the 26th is bringing and the one that you have now?
Well, and I call it, I'm probably the one that called it an umbrella, because when you have when you probably have a better term for it than I do, multiple things that you ensure you even though you have separate policies on something, you have an umbrella that covers everything. The difference
like an insurance policy.
Like insurance, you do an umbrella. But what the companion bill does, what this one does, it's a civilian oversight committee. As everybody would point out, that they have no authority to do anything other than to look and report. Their authority cannot discipline, cannot do anything other than report. But they do have what I would call the power of the pen. They can at least say to us at the board, and this is what's going on. The other bill actually brings in this group, as well as the police group and any other groups. Now they're actually paid city employees, so they're not a civilian group. But what they do is they have the power to discipline. So if this group comes and says, gee, this is a particular problem, that group, the umbrella, or the one that would be over all of this, would have the authority to discipline and take action, which no civilian group can do on its own.
Okay, and do you see them working together, both groups? Is that what you see?
I hope that they work separately, and that they work independent of each other. I think rather than coming back, like if say the civilian oversight for the jail, since that's what I'm working on, came back and only reported to the mayor. I think the second bill, at least it reports to another group that can act. So it's not just one person looking at something, it's a group looking at it. That's just my vision. And certainly we'll find out how, but that's my vision. I would love to see somehow Korea brought in. To me, Korea needs its own attorney. I really think that it needs to have more authority than it has, or at least the ability to do more. And I'm sorry, that's off subject. But my vision is that these two groups, the police oversight as well as this one, work independent of each other, report back to the larger group, and hopefully these reports come back to us also. And that for the employees in the jail, as well as the people that are housed there, our guests at the jail, have hopefully some say, which in the long run might stop some of the riots or the problems going on in the jail. You know, my hopes are that we put in a complaint or suggestion box in the different areas of the jail that only the committee, the oversight committee, would have the keys to, not the people in the jail. So that if someone has a complaint, the oversight committee would see it. If any of that makes sense, and I apologize if it doesn't.
Okay, now, so yours is the detention, jail, whatever we have, workhouse, community justice, whatever we call all these different things that we have, that would be the oversight for that group, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the potential group that the Alderman from the 26th is, that would be something that's employed by the city and also would be an oversight group. Is that what I'm hearing?
It wouldn't be an oversight group as much as it would be that this particular oversight group, as well as the police oversight group, would report back to that committee, and that committee could actually take action. Let's just say that you hear stories that, well, we won't, I don't want to make up fake stories, but you hear stories that maybe someone who works there is mistreating someone. This group can at least then try to verify, then they go back to that committee. That committee would have the authority to say, gee, we need to take action against that particular person. Again, if that makes sense.
It does. Actually, when I was the chair of public safety back in 2001, there was some security guards that were having intercourse with people in the facility. So, you know, getting that reported was a task, okay, because people were trying to cover it up. And I still got the reports from back then. I just discovered them going through some of my stuff, so it does make sense. Do you see them working with the Civilian Oversight Committee, which is something else different, as I understand it? Are those all three separate things?
They're all three separate things. In other words, the Police Oversight Committee would also would go back to this group. The complaint that we get from the Police Oversight Committee is they don't feel like, you know, I mean, all they can do is just go back and say, gee, this is what we found, and it just doesn't seem to go anywhere. This felt as if they would at least have more say, because again, they can't discipline, they can recommend, where this umbrella or this group that we would bring multiple groups in under. I could see other civilian groups, oversight groups coming in under this group. It would be the only group that would have the authority to discipline.
Okay,
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say there might be more than those two groups under it. Whatever civilian oversight groups under different things would all come under this next board bill, that what I'm calling an umbrella, but something that would cover everything.
And so besides discipline, if there were criminal activities, would they also be required to report to the circuit attorney and to some kind of prosecuting authority?
I would hope so. And I know the Alderwoman from the 26th is still doing a couple tweaks. But that's something that I think maybe should be put in there. That next one is probably one that we should all look at as it comes in the committee, because I do think what you're saying is very important, and how it's reported, because they are the only really group that can discipline. The other ones are just, we're asking normal everyday people to just go in and, you know, look at things. So I would agree with what you're saying, that next group should, and I would hope that at some point, and maybe we should put that in there, that the Board of Aldermen, or at least the Public Safety Committee, or somebody should be able to get these reports somewhat regularly.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions of the Alderman from the 23rd. I do have a question for the Alderwoman of the 26th, if she would yield.
Alderwoman from the 26th will yield the question to the Alderwoman from the 1st.
Yes.
Alderwoman from the 1st, please proceed.
Thank you, Alderwoman. So you just heard the Alderman from the 23rd talk about how he saw the bills working together. Is that your interpretation also?
That's my interpretation, my hope, my prayer, all of that.
Okay. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
I do want to speak to, because I just sent the message, and the answer about the circuit attorney's office is absolutely yes. That the circuit attorney's investigators will conduct the investigations in partnership with the city investigators. And so this, again, as its conception gives it the teeth, the power behind our civilians for the oversight. And I want to shout out to Alderwoman Rice, because she said, when I was talking about a different name, she said companion is good. Umbrella is good too, but companion is good because companion speaks to the empowerment of all these pieces in place.
Well, let me say, for somebody who's been on the board for the civilian oversight and have had to fight the milquetoast civilian oversight that we've had for years and voted no continually because we didn't put subpoena power in it. And we took these little baby steps, and I'm talking 30 years, and it still doesn't work probably the complete way it should have. I'm glad that if you're going to go to giving civilians and or groups oversight, that you do at least include some kind of subpoena power and ability to subpoena people before the committees, because otherwise they have absolutely no power at all. Even with subpoena power, there's always going to be a fight. Looking at some of the people in this administration who tell people not to appear before our committees, which is appalling to me. I never would think of it, telling somebody to do that. And I caution those people who are doing that to stop that. But at least you can subpoena them and at least compel them to do testimony, and also protect them if people are then in certain administrations are then threatening people not to testify. So I'm glad that there is subpoena power, and I am going to support this bill. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Right, thank you. Alderwoman from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I wanted to share that even though it appeared as though I was overly concerned, my concern was for the companion bill, which will provide an Office of Accountability. You need management and enforcement because these two oversight groups have no power. And you need to have an entity that has power and is going to manage process and make sure all resources are available to those oversight committees. And as was stated by the Alderman from the 23rd, we may develop some other oversight committees. And I think this is very good that we are actually putting this in a formal, official capacity with the next bill by putting management and power to these efforts. I think it's going to go a long way. And I'm voting for this bill today, as I did before, and will be supporting. So Alderwoman from the 26th, you make sure my name is on there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman from the 14th.
Mr. President, will you allow me to ask will Alderman from the 23rd yield for questions?
All right, Alderman from the 23rd will yield the question to the Alderwoman from the 14th.
Yes, I will. Yes.
Alderwoman from the 14th, please proceed.
Okay, I'm not sure if I should be asking you or the Alderman from the 26th, but we're talking about a bill that we don't have before us, but we do have the Board Bill 19 committee substitute for us. So I guess the question is, you've seen the proposed legislation that the Alderman from the 26th has seen is going to carry or anticipates on carrying, but none of us have. So I guess I need more detail on how these two would work together. And is that part of the other bill?
Right.
And specifically, what does that present that we don't have in this bill, or that you don't have in this bill?
So when we sat down, this was, Alderman Boyd was a large help in helping put this together, as well as Adolfo Pruitt, from the NAACP, as well as Reverend Gray.
Speaking of, right?
The
Committee sub.
yeah, the sort of kind of how this came about.
Okay.
So we put this together, but when they were trying to basically incorporate everything into this one bill, I just disagreed. I said, you can't put that. And then it only really would have given authority. It basically would have taken this one particular only group and given it that authority. And it wouldn't have been a true civilian oversight.
What authority are you speaking of? I'm not.
The authority to discipline and
Okay.
all that. So the difference is that we separated them and took out the paid group out of this bill. This is strictly only a civilian oversight. The other one, which
Other.
the one that Alderwoman from the 26th is handling, it's
Okay.
paid city employees. And what I'm not sure of is how that's picked. I would hope maybe one person from the Public Safety Committee, but it would also be a group that would sit down so that if, for instance, the committee substitute 19, that particular civilian group comes and talks and goes back to them and says, I want to report what we found is these findings in the jail. Then they can at least take action on it.
Okay.
But they're paid city employees. They're just going to be like an oversight.
So
Someone-
what
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying, I just so I can understand, do you mind? I don't mean to interrupt you. Excuse me. Okay, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
No, you're fine. I
Okay.
over-explain stuff and I apologize. They're
I just want to know that if we pass this, it will not interfere with the proposed legislation that the Alderwoman from the 26th is carrying.
no. We have an agreement.
Okay.
that-
Then we'll just wait for that, and that I'll support this, and then we'll wait for the other one to come through I guess it'll be presented through the Public Safety Committee.
Yes, as soon as
Because
she
I have no more questions about this, and I just hate to talk about something that's not before us because I don't think it's appropriate at this time. That I would rather see the bill in specifics and know the specific questions I need to ask. But that's all I have. That you're
All right,
supporting. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
Alderman. Thank you, Alderman from the 14th. Alderman from the 26th.
Mr. President. Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want, well, Alderwoman Howard just took the words out of my mouth because I was gonna say, as it relates to us speaking about the companion civilian oversight bill, actually, we haven't seen the actual bill yet ourselves. So it's not like we talk about or seen, it's what's happening now is conversations, honest, open conversations about what this can look like with us moving forward. So thank you, Alderwoman Howard, for that clarity, because I didn't want people to think, like you said, and get them mixed up with the different things that we're doing when we introduce it. And then we'll move forward and definitely have this kind of robust conversation in committee.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Alderman from the 23rd, you're recognized to close on Board Bill 19 committee substitute.
So, you know, I have sent over some of the things that are going on in the jail, whether it's rapes and people being beat up and security guards or officers of the place getting hurt.
Barter,
Yes,
are we closing on the bill?
I am.
Yes, he's recognized the Alderman from the 23rd to close.
Now I'm going to keep it short, but I just wanted to explain why I felt this is an important bill and why I feel the companion bill is important, but why I feel this is important and why, you know, why we act on this now is the problems over there are huge. Whether you're in support of security or in support of the people that are housed there, there's problems. I mean, major problems. And it seems to me that a lot of it falls on deaf ears. I sent out some of the stuff that I got to all the board members of what's going on over there that you don't really hear about. I was told very specifically that the person that identified as a different gender than what he or she is was raped. In the newspaper, they said, no, it was an attempted rape, and that one of the other inmates helped stop it. I mean, those things like that, I don't know. And then what I would hope that the Civilian Oversight Committee would say, you know what, when we have a transgender person, which I have in my family, one of my family members, which I would think would be, they should be somehow in a different area than general population. Because there's going to be people taking advantage, I would hope that this committee comes back and suggests that people with mental illness be in a different section. I've always said that they should be on a whole different floor and treated completely differently than than what we're doing. When we went in there, when the previous mayor had a group of us go in, Alderman Boyd was on it as well as myself. We came up with 82 suggestions as to what really needs to go on over there. And I was told, if anybody doesn't believe that we're in need of something, volunteer to do an 8-hour shift. Just, you don't have to do anything, but go over there for 8 hours. Go on a shift for 8 hours. It's not good in there. I mean, it's not good. First off, I wouldn't want to be there to start with, but when you have holding cells that are meant to be very, very short term, like one day, that people are in there for literally weeks, sleeping on either the floor or a bench, one bathroom in the middle of the room with a big glass front. Now they do keep the guys and girls in different, but but it's still, there's no privacy. If you have to use the bathroom, it's a big glass front. The guards, whether they're male or female, there's just a lot of things over there that I see that I think need to be changed, and that this is something that I believe in. I believe that that I would hope and pray that this group not only comes back and says what's wrong about the place, but what's right and what needs to be improved, and maybe work on the 82 suggestions that need to be taken care of. And I think that the Board of Aldermen, as a group, we need to look at how we make both facilities at least tolerable, and not sit down and criticize either. And I'm going to just go ahead and close. I would ask, because I'll be too long-winded, but I just ask for everybody's favorable consideration, and that we pass Board Bill 19 committee sub out, and we get working on how to start the process of getting things put together over there.
All right, thank you. It's been moved by Alderman from 23rd that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 19 committee substitute. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley.
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Page.
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia.
Aye.
Alderman Coder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderman Balmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin.
Aye.
Alderman Stevens.
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Peel,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye. Just wanna make sure my mic was on.
Alderman Ryan,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
29 aye votes.
I vote to sustain the motion of the Alderman from the 23rd and third read and finally passed Board Bill 19 committee substitute. Report of engrossments.
Board Bill 19, Committee Sub, and Board Bill 100.
All other business being suspended, the president shall in open session affix his signature hereto to the end that these may become law. Alderman from the 19th, you recognize on the motion for courtesy resolutions calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move that we adopt our courtesy resolution calendar.
Moved by the Alderman from the 19th, entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 27th, and there was somebody else in there that I missed. But,
Alderwoman Evans.
and Alderman from the 4th. Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion
Thank you.
carries. First reading of resolutions.
We have none.
Second reading,
Resolution 123, sponsored by Alderwoman Boyd, approval of the Parks Environmental Matters Committee of the Neighborhood Parks Capital Improvement Account Annual Budget pursuant to Ordinance 64994.
Alderwoman from the 27th, you recognize on second reading of resolution 123.
Thank you, Mr. President and the board. I'm excited to say that the Parks and Environmental Committee passed Resolution 123 out with due pass recommendations.
All right, thanks, Alderwoman.
Resolution
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sharita.
Resolution 124, sponsored by Alderwoman Boyd. Approval by the Parks and Environmental Matters Committee of the Neighborhood Parks Annual Budget pursuant to Ordinance 67477.
Alderwoman from the 27th, you recognize first reading of resolution 124.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. You seem like you lost for words.
Second,
Yeah,
point of
yeah,
order.
because these, we're gonna go back to 123 in a second because these are the capital improvements account budgets.
Okay.
And not the other, so.
Okay.
Point of order.
Alderman from the first, was that you?
Yes, it was. You said the first reading is the second reading.
Yes, second reading.
Okay.
Yeah, second reading. Second reading. Alderman from the 27th.
And so now we are stating that it was voted out of committee, resolution 124, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Will do pass.
And then 125.
Voted out of Parks and Environmental Committee, will do pass.
Okay.
Resolution 141, sponsored by Alderman Stevens and the following alderpersons: Tyus, Ingracia, Rice, Switzer, Gunther, Peel, Green, Middlebrook, Todd, and P. Boyd. Declaration of our fundamental reproductive freedom.
Alderman from the 12th, you recognize on the second reading of resolution 141.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm happy to say that the Health and Human Services Committee did pass Resolution 141 out of committee with a do pass recommendation.
All right, would you like to make a motion for the adoption of resolution 141?
Yes, sir, I so move.
Second.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 12th, seconded by the Alderman, I think it was the Alderman from the 20th and the Alderman from the 1st. Alderman from the 12th, please proceed.
Yes, sir, thank you. Resolution 141 is, as it states, just a declaration, a reiteration of our fundamental reproductive rights as supported by the US Constitution and as is constantly being debated. This this resolution seeks only to reaffirm those rights, to create a stance here at the Board of Aldermen, and to protect the very Constitution, the laws that we swore an oath upon to uphold. So with that, I am open to any questions or any comments. I will note that there was a scrivener's error in that we did change the wording on one whereas. I'm happy to go into that. And I would like to thank Madam Rogers, so Miss Rogers, and also Mr. Clerk for assisting in this process and helping me navigate various facets of it. So with that, I yield back, Mr. President.
All right. Any further discussion? Alderman from the 1st.
Mr. President, members of the board, I rise in support of this resolution. Reproductive choice is a very personal thing. I know we are getting ready to go to the Supreme Court to make some real hard decisions about a very famous case that came out when I was a young person, Roe v. Wade. And so I am that person that believes that choice is a very fundamental thing for everyone. The choice to decide if you believe in abortion, or the choice to decide if you do not. Those are your personal choices. And until you actually face these things, I would tell people you really don't know how you really feel. I've had to face that in my life. And even though I'm pro-choice, I didn't want to do the things that I am supportive of. So that meant I didn't have children because I did not want to do selective abortion. I did not want to do that. So, but that was my choice and my husband's choice. It was not anybody else's choice. We talked about in vitro, and that would have meant if you did more than one, if more than one of your cells was fertilized, that you could have more than one choice about having children. And that wasn't something I thought I could do. Again, my choice. So when people think that they want to make choices like that for other people, I really wish you would just rethink it, because it is a very personal choice and it will affect people's lives for many years to come. By the same token, there are a lot of people who don't believe in that, and they want to be able to say they don't believe in it. They want to be outside the Planned Parenthood, and they want to protest. I've also supported that. I supported them being out there every day, passing out literature saying I don't support this. So I am very much very focused in that I do believe in the woman's right to choose, but also people who don't believe the way I believe, that they have a right to say, I don't believe it. I am watching with bated breath about what's going to happen at the Supreme Court level. And it will make me very sad that after all these many years of a a woman's right to have an abortion, and if for it to be something that didn't have to be hidden and didn't have to go and look for a clothes hanger and the things that happened when I was very young, if we go back to that. So I hope and pray that that's not where we go back in our country, because there will always be abortions, just like we can't stop people who do prostitution. We've never been able to stop that. We're not going to stop abortion. What we will stop, if it happens, and if the Supreme Court decides something else, is that a lot of poor women will have to go back to doing things that should not be done, because the wealthy will always find a way to get it done. So I'm hoping and praying that our Supreme Court will see that we do not need to go back to that. But, and Missouri will probably be one of the first states, if that happens, that will change all of their laws. And that's sad for me, okay? Because it's sad if you know anybody who's ever had an abortion by hanger or did some other things, and you know about the deaths that happened with that. And it's very real, and that will happen again. So I want to thank the sponsor for this resolution, and I was proud to put my name. I've supported Planned Parenthood financially because I think you put your money where your mouth is, and this is something important for people to be able to make their own decisions. And I'm proud to be a co-sponsor, and I want to thank the sponsor for allowing me to be a co-sponsor. I have no further comments.
All right, Alderman from the 5th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Especially given the matters before the U.S. Supreme Court as we speak, I would be honored to have my name added to resolution number 141.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that change.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. And I want to thank the Alderman from the 12th and the Alderwoman from the 1st for bringing this resolution at such a pivotal point in time. Like the Alderwoman from the 1st described, we are sitting at the brink of rolling back 50 years of advancement for women and reproducing people in our society. We all should have the right and have the ability to decide if, when, and how to give birth, if, when, and how to have a family, if, when, and how to not have a family. And especially as we here in Missouri, as the Alderwoman from the 1st indicated, we have a trigger law on the books that if Roe versus Wade is invalidated at the Supreme Court, we would immediately also criminalize abortion access here in Missouri as well. So it is incredibly important for us as St. Louis to stand up for people who need reproductive services. And that is everything from birth control all the way through abortion, because some of the arguments that were made on Wednesday at the Supreme Court referred to fetal personhood. And that has the potential to take us all the way through birth control. And the advancement of women and reproducing people in our society as the advancement of birth control has moved forward is phenomenal, right? How many of us would be sitting here without birth control widely available and freely available and safe for reproducing people to have? I also, especially as we know that our maternal mortality rates are abysmal, particularly in communities of color here in the United States and especially in Missouri. We don't do a good job of taking care of pregnant people. We don't do a good job of taking care of children after they are born. We have a Republican Party that is moving to, keep paid leave off of the books right now. So that's saying that folks should be free to raise a family. We're not giving them those supports in the first place. And pregnancy is 14 times more life-threatening than abortion. We know that pregnancy itself is not always safe. And so there are people who want to have children, who want to give birth, but end up with severe birth defects or life-threatening conditions themselves. And their ability to access abortion is on the line here as well. And some of those things cannot be found out before 6 weeks, cannot be found out before 8 weeks, cannot be found out before 15 weeks. We need medical care that is true to the science and values the life of the person carrying that pregnancy as a whole separate independent person worth protecting as well. So I just want to thank this body for its continual support, for understanding that even though we may differ on religious lines, we understand that there there is a role to play for the government here to protect the ability to access healthcare. And I just want to thank the alderman again from the 12th for bringing this resolution, and the alderwoman from the 1st. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Alderman from the 21st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's challenging for any female to find herself contemplating abortion, especially if she is disadvantaged or comes from a marginalized community. I think that St. Louis would greatly benefit should we commit ourselves to adequate resources towards such issues, such as strengthening families, eliminating poverty, providing affordable.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Alderman from the 6th, please state your point of order.
I apologize. I hope it's not just me. I cannot hear the alderman from the 21st and would like to know what he has to say.
Yeah, his speaker his mic is coming through low. I turned my volume up and was able to hear him. I don't know if he can do anything about it. It was the same kind of problem last week. Alderman from the 21st, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, as I was saying, I think it's challenging when any female or young lady finds herself contemplating abortion, especially when they come from disadvantaged situations or disadvantaged communities. I think that our city and our communities at large would benefit if we would focus on real resources. Again, strengthening our family structure, dismantling poverty, mainly dismantling the Delmar divide, providing affordable early childhood education, improving our public education system, improving access to birth control, and improving access to quality healthcare, and also preventing and educating our communities on domestic violence. I think that when the emotional, the physical, the educational, as well as the financial health and opportunities for women improve, I think we reduce the likelihood of facing these serious questions, whether it's abortion, which is never easy or desirable. I just wish that we would focus on the real issues that would prevent these first. I am not against this resolution. I can't say that I necessarily support it either, just because I think the resolution is bland in its illustration. But I commend the alderman from the 12th for trying. Again, I don't support it, but I'm definitely not against it. I just wanted to voice how I feel about this resolution at this particular time. Again, I think that we need to focus on strengthening families and eliminating all these factors that contribute to the lack of access and opportunities for women. That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to have my name added to the resolution.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. The Alderwoman from the 4th name wishes to add her name to the resolution.
Thank you.
So noted.
All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 12th, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. President, and members, my colleagues here at the board. Thank you for those that have signed on to it. And thank you to the Alderman from the 21st for highlighting that this is not the be all end all resolution, that it has to be more. It has to be addressing these fundamental issues that affect all of our families. So I thank you for voicing that, Alderman from the 21st. I would like to echo those concerns as well. Yes, Mr. President?
No, sorry. I thought you were I thought when you cleared your throat, I thought you were wrapping up. Go ahead.
Oh, no, so sorry. I am.
Go ahead.
I would just like to very briefly redirect it from solely being about abortion that is named in this resolution, but it is meant to be much more broader than that. It's meant to be reproductive rights. It's meant to be the access to information or access to medical decisions and so on and so forth. So I did just want to make that small redirection. And with that, Mr. President and dear colleagues here at the board, I would like to motion to.
We're good on that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 12th, seconded by the Alderman from the 1st that we adopt resolution 141. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Let's extend the second reading of resolutions.
Miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
Announcements.
Tuesday, December 7th, HUS will have a meeting at 9 a.m. via webinar. Ways and Means will have a meeting at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, December 7th via webinar. Education and Youth Matter will have a meeting at 12:30 p.m. via webinar. Wednesday, December 8th, full board meeting, 10 a.m. via webinar. Thursday, December 9th, Public Safety will have a meeting at 9 a.m. via webinar. Health and Human Services will have a meeting at 2 p.m. via webinar. And Friday, December 10th, full board meeting, 10 a.m. via webinar. That is the extent of the announcements.
Any further announcements? Alderman from the 1st.
Mr. President, members of the board, I wasn't here last week. I wanted to thank everyone. My neighbor died, who was 101. You did have a moment of silence. And for those people who stuck to their guns, thank you for voting no on my absence, because I wanted you to do that. And so you are the true, thank you. You're the true people. I would have if I would have been here, okay?
Dan and a couple others.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Overwhelmed.
You're the true soldiers, and I will be voting no if anybody is absent today. Thank you.
All right. Any further announcements? Alderman from 26.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to announce quickly, speaking back to what we talked about, movements, not moments, and next efforts, next steps for our youth. I want to announce that the STL Best of the Best Showcase, Talent Showcase. This is a free talent showcase, and it's an effort to get our children out of the streets and engaged in something that can, something that they enjoy and something that they like doing. And it's put on by my sister, Queen Mokalate. Some of y'all might know her. She's Cherie Galvin, but she's the queen of promotions here in the city of St. Louis, DJ Cuddy and the Boys and Girls Club of Missouri. So it's at their facility at 9200 West Florissant. The first one is next Friday, but the reason I want to announce it today is because they're still looking for talent. So if you have some youth in your community that you think might want to participate in this, please, you can call 335-8240. That's 335-8240. Again, this is free. This is free community engagement for our youth and a chance for them to showcase their talents amongst their peers. Peer-to-peer is how we're going to change this thing. So again, if you want to connect with that event, you have youth or you have somebody that you know might have youth, please have them call 335-8240. It'll be the St. Louis Best of the Best Talent Showcase.
All right, thank you, Alderman from 26. And also thank you for giving that shout out to Mokalate. She has done some phenomenal things through the city for a lot of years and just doesn't, although she gets recognized, but not to the extent that she should, having worked in the city for so long and promoted the city, all those things that are good and unique about the city of St. Louis. She works tirelessly to put it out front. So let's give a big round of applause to her for all of her work. Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Here again on Saturday, December 4th, a South Grand at Apotheosis Comics and Lounge. Goodness, I can't talk today. From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, they are having their Grinchmas gathering. So they have someone dressed up as the Grinch. You can take photos with the Grinch. It's to the benefit of the Shriners hospitals. So if Santa Claus isn't really your thing or isn't your child's thing, come on down, take a picture with the Grinch at Apotheosis Comics and Lounge.
All right, welcome. That was a mouthful. How you pronounce that last one again?
Apotheosis.
Oh, okay. All right. Any further announcements? Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I am happy to say that all members are present today in one way or another. Thank you.
Awesome. Sorry about that. Alderman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we adjourn to Wednesday, December 8th, 2021 at 10:01 a.m.
Second.
10:01. It's been moved by Alderman from the 10th. Entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman from the 25th. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose.
No.
We stand adjourned.